We're in the city of Antioch. This is Acts chapter 11, the first place where the followers of Jesus were called Christians. The church is still there. And now this pastor and his wife went through the earthquake and they thought they would die. I mean, and that was universal. Everyone that we talked to that went through the earthquake thought, this is it. This could be my last few moments.
Hey folks, Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to another exclusive clip from the Watchman show on TBN. Our good friend Chris Mitchell of CBN News, host of the Jerusalem Dateline show, joined us in Jerusalem recently to provide an eyewitness account of what he saw in the epicenter of the earthquake zone in Turkey. Now, of course, on February 6th, a massive 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck Turkey and northwestern Syria. Chris went right to Turkey. Again, he was on the ground for several days talking to people who were affected by the quake, to victims. So he shares that eyewitness report and, more importantly even, what God is doing in the midst of all the devastation. Could we see a revival in Turkey? Could we see the Lord reveal himself more and more to the people who were affected by the earthquake? Chris has got some fascinating and important insights there. Also just some powerful stories about what he saw. He described the scenes as apocalyptic. Folks, keep the people of Turkey and northwestern Syria who were affected by this earthquake in your prayers. Also, Chris and I talk about the increasing importance of the Temple Mount in these prophetic days that we are living in right now, Bible times. And this conversation all happened as we were sitting in the shadow of the Temple Mount. Without further ado, here's my interview with my good friend Chris Mitchell of CBN News. Chris, it is always great to have you here with us in Jerusalem.
Great to be with you.
But you were just in Turkey and you were at the epicenter, Chris, of that horrific earthquake, tens of thousands of people killed. What did you see? What is the situation on the ground there right now?
Hard to describe, Eric. I've never seen any devastation like this, and not only devastation, but all over the earthquake zone. Incredible devastation. Earthquakes that have just collapsed buildings on themselves, buildings that are toppled over, buildings that have filled the streets with debris, and they're going through now. Unfortunately, the search and rescue is over. It's just hard to describe, Eric, the amount of devastation and the grief that people are going through. The whole nation is grieving right now.
Now, you were there for several days, Chris. You had to get some just very compelling personal stories of average Turks on the ground who were affected. I'm sure there were some horrible stories, but were there some stories of hope and maybe different ways that God was moving in the midst of all the tragedy and chaos?
It becomes almost mind-numbing, but it doesn't become personal. We were in the city of Hatay, and we were looking at a recovery going on in these probably several buildings that had just collapsed. And there were a number of families, just members, just watching the recovery going on. And as journalists, we went up and asked one of the families if we could talk to them. They said no, and I certainly understood. And then we just offered a few words of comfort. And they said, well, why don't you sit down with us? So we sat down, we had soup with them. And then the mother described that her daughter, her granddaughter, and her son-in-law were in that pile of rubble that we were looking at. And then they showed us pictures. And now that really brought it home. I mean, these are human beings, family members, brothers, sisters, sons and daughters, mothers and fathers that have lost their lives. And we just were able to pray with them and offer some comfort. And one other story, Eric, this is even more tragic and poignant. We're in the city of Antioch. This is Acts chapter 11, the first place where the followers of Jesus were called Christians. The church is still there. And now this pastor and his wife went through the earthquake and they thought they would die. I mean, and that was universal. Everyone that we talked to that went through the earthquake thought, this is it. This could be my last few moments. They started praying. They thought they were literally going to meet Jesus. And then it stopped. And then they heard a crash. They said it was like a train. And they went outside. They saw that their whole neighborhood had collapsed. And these were people that they had been ministering to for years. Yeah. In that neighborhood, 300 died. And even more tragic was that there were 50 boys that this woman had been sharing and teaching the Bible, and they all died. And so it's just tragic. And in the midst of this, I guess you could say the hope is that to pray for the people of Turkey, to pray that this would be a redemptive situation, that good would come out of it. Pray for revival. Pray that the Holy Spirit would move in the aftermath of this devastation.
And by the way, Chris just returned. You're literally fresh off the plane.
I basically wore these clothes for a week.
We appreciate it very much, my friend. And you texted me when you were there and you said the scenes are apocalyptic.
Apocalyptic. Kandaramas was probably one of the hardest hit cities. Literally a block was twisted metal and concrete and just kind of smoldering. It's just, that was kind of apocalyptic. And you see those scenes over and over and over again.
There's such massive seismic activity here in the region, so people realize the Middle East sees a great number of earthquakes, and there's talk that Israel may be due for a major earthquake soon as well.
Yeah.
Chris, so much is happening. The prophetic chess pieces are moving so quickly. Sometimes it's tough to keep track.
That's right.
And a lot of it revolves around that structure we see behind us over our shoulder. The Temple Mount once again becoming the center of the world's attention.
That's right. I think there's a deeper desire among many of our Jewish friends to be up there and to pray on the Temple Mount. And that I think that movement is going to accelerate, and that's one thing. So I think we're gonna see a lot of things coming here.
Yeah. Hey, folks, fasten your seatbelts. And Chris, you have a front row seat for all of it here in Jerusalem. We can't thank you enough, my friend. So glad you're back safely from Turkey. We're praying for everyone there affected by the quake, and we're praying for this city because we are mandated to do so.
That's right.
Peace of Jerusalem.
Amen.
Chris Mitchell, thanks so much. Jerusalem Dateline, CBN News. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Great to be with you.
Great to have you, Chris.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for checking out the Watchman newscast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an upload, and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. And don't forget to share your thoughts, insights, and comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.